this video, I say my just tie my heart, but the video no, it made me not fit tie my heart. The governor, the colonial governor for Southern Zone, it tell the chief say, all chief they must match. He said chief they must match. He said chief will not match. A village not go be recognized again. Then they go to pay the chief, then they are 50,000, they pay chief them 50,000 and 100,000 Cameroon money. Now so the one chief them. And look at Sibet. Chiefs, the dignity of chiefs them back then, it be right up there. But today, they don't become the people where they love them. They go create that thing say House of Chiefs. Not just for food them. Okay. We know it to be House of Chief back then, where chief they began respect. The British system was quite different because they had what we call indirect rule, where the chiefs were the one ruling. Okay, the chiefs were the one ruling, and the chiefs had a lot of influence over what is happening within their constituencies. Okay, it wasn't like today where you have all these people coming today that they are chiefs or they are this, they are that. No, back then there was that recognition. Okay, but see what we have today. A governor will come and be warning the chiefs that they must go and march. I've never seen that. And as if that is not enough, the chiefs think that is very, very normal. That's not normal. It's not normal for the governor to force the chief to go and march. Okay. And it is just going, on the nerve of people that you see a chief being forced, your chief of your village who controls thousands of people will be asked to go and march for 20th May, a day that is a day that there was all this fraudulent, these lies, we and yes nonsense that happened. I want you to take a listen to him. Then you understand what I'm talking about. The governor is asking them to go and march. Chiefs of that matter.
The 20th May, this day, all the chiefs will march with a pancart indicating their village and their population follow behind. If that is not the case, it means those chiefs don't exist. And if you don't exist as a body, as a village, you should not be called village and counted among the village. I said it some 2 or 3 years ago. The chief refused to do it because there were still volunteers chiefs. But today, you know that the voluntariat is finished.
This is the colonial governor imposing on the chiefs of Southern Zone. I don't know about the funds of the Northern Zone, what Lelela Afrique is going to tell them. This is Okala Bilai. It's imposing on them that they have to go and march. I don't understand the value of the chiefs anymore. If they go with their own people or they go with the colonial leader. This is somebody who is not elected. It is an appointed person coming to impose on you what to do in your own constituency. This is really, really bad. It's bad. But that's the situation. That is the situation. And you can see this going on and on, and nobody say anything, right? But it is bad because that is what is the modus operandi now, where somebody can just come and say anything and everybody listen. Everybody listen. There's no consequences for anything. This is Muyuka today. You see the protests. People are protesting. They are going to bring the police, bring the army to subjugate them. Either kill them, try to make sure that they fight them, put them to subjugation. Look at this is Muyuka.
All across the national territory of Southern Cameroon and Amazonia, there's renewed resistance, rebellion, and total rejection towards the French Cameroon army of occupation, terror, and mass murder. And here in Muyuka, Atlantic zone of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, where the genocidal military of the Republic of Cameroon has kept up Calais, a code word for brutality, extreme torture, financial extortion, exploitation, mass indiscriminate arrests, or better still, abduction.
So you see, the people are peacefully protesting. I don't know if peaceful protest has become something. This is the same thing that happened in 2016. The people held their peace plan. They were marching peacefully. They had no intention to do anything, any harm to anybody. The government sent its military. This is what is happening here. The same thing that happened. Send its military, and they, boom, the same thing. This is how it started. And the protests went all across Southern Cameroon and Amazonia. For how long are we going to face this kind of situation where the military is sent to quell any protest? Military is sent to do anything to anybody without remorse. There's Calais. The people have been squeezed. The little money they have. Calais, if you don't have your ID card, you have to pay money. Or they can frame you anything as a terrorist, as a this, as a that. The same thing they did to Abdou Karim. The same thing they did to Abdou Karim. And some people don't understand the gravity of these things. They don't understand. The same accusation to Abdou Karim. But today, what is happening? The international community is asking the Cameroon government to release Abdou Karim, the Naira 10, to release all these people. Because they are all, they don't merit to be where they are. This is it. This is a letter coming from the Human Rights Watch is asking, please release Abdou Karim. Release this man. This guy is an activist. He has nothing to do with any crime. Release this guy. Cameroon government does not listen to They say the International Human Rights Organization, Amnesty International, has demanded the immediate release of Abdou Karim Ali, who was sentenced to life imprisonment on April 16. Amnesty has described the sentence as deplorable, stating that it is an affront to justice. This is Amnesty International. An affront to justice. What does it tell you? It tells you that he was wrongfully imprisoned, right? People will just come and be saying things. Oh, this. All the people that have been in prison in line of this crisis is illegal. They're all political prisoners because the Cameroon government just take advantage and go and lock them up without due process. Abdou Karim never went to court. Abdou Karim said, we have our courts, our customary courts, our court of first instance, our court of appeal. We have courts, we have the high courts in Southern Cameroon. Why do you arrest somebody in Bamenda, arrest somebody in Boya, and take them to Yaoundé under military court? If it was even civilian court, we can say, okay, maybe it's because it's civilian court. It's not civilian court. They are all French-speaking civil law court as opposed to our common law courts. It is not fair. We are seeing the international community coming to put their voice. That is what we were asking since the days when they arrested Seseko Ayoktabe. We saw how the international community is helping, because our people who claim that they are the parliamentarians will do nothing. They are toothless bulldog. That's why we cannot allow that something happen, because we have to speak up. If we don't speak up, who's going to speak up for them? Nobody. The people who call themselves the politicians, CPDM and all those people, they have no say. Right up to the position of the prime minister, they have no say. So who's going to speak on behalf of our people? Nobody. The toothless bulldog in parliament, the toothless bulldogs in Senate will say nothing, because they have been sealed. Their mouths are being sealed with money, with bribe, with threats and everything. Because if you see the trend of those parliamentarians and senators who even spoke up, where are they today? Where are they? Where is Frunzi? All these people were killed. Where is Mbada? Where is Senator Kemendi? Where is all these people? They have been killed. Either through fraudulent ways, manipulation, poisoning, and all those things. Large public will look for all ways to pull you down, and they will say it's accident. Yes, if you are going on the way and they put something on the way and your car stumble, is that not accident? It's accident. But it's planned something. They plan it. The argument of Abdou Karim lawyers, this is what they are talking about. It's always good to listen to the argument and you understand what they are talking about, because this is not just something that happens like that, right? It's something planned by the Cameroon government to put Abdou Karim in prison. That's why we are saying that no, this is just too much for him, right? He committed no crime.
The Ministry of Justice.
That's it. Listen.
I really want to, especially that he's going to be responding in writing. We want that, or we request that when, at such a time when the writings are going to be done, that these terms are spelled out clearly so that it will help the committee in trying to arrive whatever decision they are going to arrive at. For instance, the honorable gentleman just said, or the honorable director just said, the petitioners were deported to Cameroon. We have said here time and again, and we are repeating here again on the record, Mr. Chairman, that these 10 men, were refouled. They were renditioned. A deportation is a legal term which actually means going through due process and taking people back to their country of origin. In this case, we are talking about 10 people who had sought asylum, were granted those certificates.
Council,
yes, Mr. Chairman.
As much as I want come back to the committees, speak to the... No, you can transmit, Council, you should know now, you can transmit a letter and it's being received, and I tell you, I'm not aware. Has it not been done? So, the most important thing now is for him to do his submission in writing that he's not aware. Let the committee have it on record that the Ministry of Justice, under Attorney General of the Federation say they are not aware of this matter. There is no official communication that has been given to them. So I also remember we had summoned the NSA office for them to appear before us. But this had also has to, help us again. This is going to help us again to intensify our efforts to make sure that NSA respond to the best of their interests, what they know and the information they have about this matter. So I don't want you to drag the matter and then saying that, okay, why won't
Yeah. So we just got hold of that, right? Yeah. We have to make sure we follow up on those things so that we know what's going on all levels. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now look at what is going on. This is the Comrade Chris talking about the protests.
For far too long, the people of the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia have been silenced under the suffocating weight of occupation, brutality, and official extortion. The regime in Yaoundé perfected the art of misinformation, staging parades of deception, propping up charades disguised as grassroots rejection of the Ambazonian liberation movement. We have seen over the years this farce play out in places like Bali, Pinyin, and other communities where regime lackeys orchestrated token protests against the restoration fighters of Ambazonia, parading them before the cameras to fool the international community into thinking.
As you can see, this is the Muyuka protest. The people of Muyuka stood up en masse and say enough is enough. The police brutality, the military brutality, the regime's brutality on the people, extortion, all kinds of maiming, all atrocities are going on. And Muyuka's case is just a sample of what is going on. If the people do not stand up like this, the military will keep. Look now, they went and brought all the militaries. That is how you call a military state or a police state where everything's being policed. Okay, a peaceful protest, they go and bring military. Peaceful march, they go and bring military. That is what they're doing to suppress our people. But our people have a just cause to stand for their right. Else, this same thing will continue and every day.
The revolution, the struggle, the Ambazonian struggle is lost. That the people are no longer with it. But those days appear to be over. What happened in Fako, Muyuka, precisely today, ladies and gentlemen, early this morning, wasn't choreographed by the regime. It wasn't a media stunt. It wasn't a protest against Amazonian restoration fighters or freedom fighters. No, it was an organic grassroots uprising of a bitter, battered, and bruised people, an unarmed, peaceful population waving palm fronds and marching, not against their own liberation, but against the colonial oppressor. The protest was loud, clear, and focused. The Cameroon army must leave, they demanded. The streets of Muyuka bore witness to a historic moment, a moment that laid bare the true face of Cameroon's colonial
this
rule in
protest
Amazonia or the southern
it's not
Cameroon.
Against the Amazonian
Hundreds
revolution.
of
No,
civilians,
it's against the
mostly
military.
farmers, rallied in peaceful
for the past years,
defiance.
we have seen all kind of propaganda from government trying to say, oh, the population don't want it. When somebody wants to steal and they do jungle justice on the person, they say, oh, they have guys, the Amber boys are stealing, and so on and so forth. But when the military go and commit all these crimes, they don't put out the military out there. You don't even know if the military has been punished or has been held accountable for the crimes they are committing in our land. All the extortion. When they rob a bank in Bamenda,
these are
you
the
realize
cries
that it
of
was
the
the
people
military
pushed
that
to
robbed
the
that
brink.
bank.
A resident
Those still
recounted
attributed
the
to
daily humiliation they
the freedom
faced.
fighters
And
who
I
are
quote
fighting
him,
a just cause.
when going to
The
harvest,
atrocities of this
harvest
military
food in the morning, you pay 1,000
is
francs.
too much.
When coming back, another 1,000 francs is paid.
When the military rob the bank, they will go and say it's the Amazonian fighters. When the military go and extort money, they go and say it's the Amazonian fighters. If the military go and do kale, go and block road, collect money on checkpoints, they will say it's Amazonian fighter. Every crime that these armed robbers called military are committing, they will say, no, this is Amazonian fighters doing it. So they attribute everything on the side of those people who are just trying to fight for their freedom. When you occupy somebody, you occupy somebody's land, you commit all this crime on the person. You use your gun to ask them to do things. What other means do you think this person can use to survive or to try to come out from this bondage? The place is chaotic. There is war going on. So the people are being exploited. The little money they have. Imagine these Muyuka people. They are complaining. They want to go to farm. They ask them money. They are coming back from farm. They'll ask them 1,000 francs. They want to go and sell their crop in the market. Give 1,000 francs. They want to go to church. Give 1,000. There is this kale. They call it kale, but it's just mass arrest and start collecting money from them. I've never seen a country that arrests innocent civilian because they don't have ID card. Instead of there are many ways to identify people. When you take their fingerprints, when you try to check from their records and so on and so forth. But if you don't have records, you don't even know how to keep records. How do you try to go and lock up somebody for not having an ID card when it's not their fault? It's the government's fault for not issuing ID card to everybody. But at the time of this event, the people are fed up. This is something that they have been going through for the past 7 to 8 years. And they say enough is enough. Enough is enough.
If you bring red palm oil, you pay 3,000 francs to the army. A bunch of plantains, you pay based on the quantity. This is not law enforcement, you said. This is highway robbery, institutionalized and sanctioned by the colonial regime in La République du Cameroon. And when the people can't pay, they are arrested. Women are raped. Men are beaten. Women are forced shaved by the military. A dehumanizing act of psychological warfare. These soldiers who claim to protect the people from rogue Ambazonian fighters or Atangenji fighters have become predators themselves. They don't protect the farmers, they feed on them. So the question must be asked and must be answered by those still sitting on the fence in Ambazonia and thinking that Ambazonia cannot win. Of course, we will win. And the question is, if the Cameroon army is here to protect, why do the people want them to go? The propaganda machine is crumbling. For years, the Biya regime has fed foreign diplomats and international media a cocktail of lies. That the fighters are the problem. Ambazonia fighters, they have said all the time, are the problem. That the people...
Those still sitting on the fence, thinking that manners can come from heaven. The freedom is not free. The fact that our people have been suffering for the past 9 years under this system, there are people who say, well, we are tired, that one a thing, we are tired. But at the end of the day, they realize that if they stay like that, it will be worse. Look at governor telling the chiefs, telling your chief in your village to go and march. How mean is that? Chiefs back in the days, when you hear the house of chiefs, they were decision makers. They were the one making decisions. They were not just sitting in one village and the governor will come and tell them, go and march, go do this, like boy. They listen to their people. Today, the chiefs don't listen to their people anymore. They listen to the governor who come and say, go and march, they'll go and march. When their people are protesting, in this kind of protest, the first person you have to see in this kind of village protest is the chief himself standing in front line marching. But can the chiefs do that today? No. They are afraid of their salary. They are 100,000 salary that they pay them. They will not get their salary. Back then, the chief's palace, I remember the thing, the adage, they said, you don't go to the chief's house empty-handed, right? But today, the chiefs are in Yaoundé. The palaces are empty. They sacrifice, the sacrilege, the cultural heritage has been sacrificed. You go to the chief's palace, there is no chief there. Before, the community were paying the chiefs. But today, the government is paying the chiefs. So what do you think? There is a reverse of everything. And the government of Cameroon is using these chiefs now to play their bit. You saw what happened to one chief, the phone in Douala. Those phone who don't live in their palaces, they're in Douala. They go and give titles to people who give them money. They are selling the titles. Quifo. You go and sell Quifo titles because people give you money. Whereas back then, Quifo was given to people who have significant impact on their community. They were not just given to people like Fonz go and sit in Douala and give Samuel Etofis Quifo, when he doesn't even know the Quifo, the title. Because they have sold their own cultural heritage. It's not the same. Look at the 20th May thing. The lockdown this time has been called by all the groups, all the interim government, and everybody has called this one this time. 19 and 20. 19 is a Monday. We all know Monday is a ghost town. But that 20th is a Tuesday. It's a Mami Wata. Tuesday will be hell. Look at Mami Wata lockdown. In solidarity with our Ground Zero freedom fighters, the joint decision by the leadership, the pact under the Consultative Commission, and other partner liberation movements, the entire Ambazonian territory shall be locked down on May 19 and 20th. You see that thing of the we and yes? Ambazonia will not be mocked. We saw those things before, right? Where
One peace. And then only Cameroon's army can deliver it. But they have...
Yeah, we saw this. The fact that they brought in people who would just come and say anything, we and yes, and they fool our people. The referendum was held because they brought in their Republic people to come and vote. You cannot hold referendum on the people of Southern Cameroon and you go and bring your own people to come and vote. That's not a referendum for the people of Southern Cameroon. It was a referendum for all Cameroon and Southern Cameroon put together. Then they'll put that language, we and yes. Our people do not even know what is we and yes. It means both. If you choose we, it means you say yes. If you choose yes, you say you know. There's no there. See how manipulative these people are. Now, 20 May. I have a talking point here before we start. The title is Why Southern Cameroonians Should Boycott the 20th May celebration. Why should we boycott the 20th May celebration? Okay. May 20th, celebrated annually as Cameroon's National Day, is portrayed by the regime in Yaoundé as a symbol of national unity. However, for the people of Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia, this day does not represent unity, but rather betrayal, manipulation, and the loss of sovereign identity. It was on the 20th of May 1972 that the then President Ahidjo unilaterally dissolved the federal system of government that had been agreed upon during the fake union between the formerly British administered Southern Cameroon and the French Cameroon. What followed was the imposition of a centralized authoritarian regime dominated by French-speaking elites, leading to decades of marginalization, exploitation, and repression of the people of Southern Cameroon. The historical injustice of the 1972 referendum, the erosion of the federal system, purportedly, and the ongoing occupation of the Ambazonian territory provide irrefutable reasons for Southern Cameroonians to boycott the May 20th celebration. The 1972 referendum, a fraudulent political scheme. The May 20th, 1972 referendum was designed and executed without the consent and equal participation of the people of Southern Cameroon. The ballot gave voters only two options, we and yes. A blatant manipulation that denied the electorate a real choice. This referendum was unconstitutional and violated the spirit and the letter of the Funban Conference Agreement, where federalism was presented as a guarantee for preserving the cultural and political identity of the Southern Cameroons. By orchestrating this referendum, President Ahidjo betrayed the trust of Southern Cameroonians and dismantled the two-state federal structure that had allowed a semblance of autonomy and coexistence. The so-called United Republic of Cameroon that emerged post-referendum was nothing more than an absorption of the Southern Cameroons into a centralized francophone system. Southern Cameroon was stripped of its statehood. Government and institutions were dismantled, and the region was renamed simply the Southwest and Northwest regions, erasing its legal and historical identity. This act was not unifying, it was annexation disguised as unity. From federalism to oppression, a pattern of marginalization. Since the dissolution of the federal system, Southern Cameroon have suffered systematic discrimination in education, infrastructure, civil service, appointments, and political representation. State resources have been disproportionately channeled to Francophone region, while the English-speaking region have faced neglect and underdevelopment. The imposition of French-speaking judges and teachers into the Southern Cameroon courts and schools further illustrate the cultural erosion enforced by the central government of Yaoundé. The military crackdown on peaceful protests in 2016, and we see that today in Muyuka, the escalation into armed conflict are a direct result of this long-standing oppression. Thousands of civilians have been killed, villages razed, and over 1 million people displaced. Rather than address the root causes of discontent, the regime in Yaoundé continues to enforce its rule through violence, coercion, and propaganda. May 20th, a day of mourning, not celebration. For Ambazonians, May 20th is not a celebration of unity, but a grim reminder of the failed union with La République du Cameroon. The day symbolizes the loss of sovereignty, identity, and the betrayal of democratic principles. Marching or participating in May 20th events will mean legitimizing the very structures that have oppressed and erased the Southern Cameroonian identity. In the context of the ongoing armed conflict, mass arrest, torture, and human rights violation committed by the state against Southern Cameroonians participating in May 20th activities is morally and politically indefensible. Boycotting this day is a form of peaceful resistance, a declaration that Southern Cameroonians reject the false narrative of unity imposed by a system that has shown nothing but contempt for its existence. To conclude, the boycott of 20th May by Southern Cameroonians is not just a symbolic act. It is a necessary political stance grounded in historical truth and the struggle for justice. In the 1972 referendum was not an exercise in democracy, but a calculated move to destroy federalism and impose centralized authoritarian rule. Southern Cameroonians have every right to reject the narrative of unity celebrated on May 20th until there is a genuine dialogue and negotiation, accountability, and a return to a system that respects the identity and autonomy. May 20th will remain a day of resistance, not celebration. That was the talking point I have there. A brief of what is happening in Southern Cameroon today. Okay, you see, Paul Biya is in big trouble today because you know what is happening there is not what our people wanted, but because of the lack of any move to help our people, that's what you see there.
As Cameroon
Listen to Comrade
prepares
Chris.
to mark its so-called National Unity Day on May 20th, the streets of Bamenda and Bambili are teeming, not with celebratory flags and patriotic cheers, but with fear, terror, and the footsteps of military trucks packed with soldiers. Behind the regime's annual facade of unity lies a brutal, calculated campaign of intimidation, arbitrary arrests, and state-sponsored sexual violence, and yes, sexual violence, all meant to force a narrative the people of Southern Cameroon have long rejected. Reports from the University of Bamenda in Bambili paint a grim picture. On Wednesday, the Cameroonian military descended on campus in full force. Students, many of them preparing for their exams, they were rounded up en masse. Homes and dormitories were searched without warrants. Of course, warrants do not exist in that country. Young women were molested. Mothers were dragged from their homes. In what has become a pattern during this season, every year, the army is not simply patrolling, it is occupying, it is punishing Southern Cameroonians. Residents say this is not security. This is collective punishment designed to produce two outcomes. Number one, silence, and two, stage compliance. They raid our homes, one said, arrest our children, then film them in army-controlled stadiums as if they were proud to march on May 20th, said a local parent whose daughter narrowly escaped the raids.
You see, so this is the pattern of occupation. When you're being occupied by a military occupation, everything is surrounded by quelling any protest, quelling any voice, quelling anything that want to destabilize. They believe any protest, anything will destabilize. Okay, and now you see, we have declared lockdown for the people of Southern Cameroon, the land, and they brought the military, they brought the gendarmes, and to come and do their normal oppression, their suppression, their everything that they can do to our people so that our people's voices will be quelled. But as it stands, for the past 8 to 9 years, our people still stand tall. What does that tell you? It tells you that till the last man standing, as our Nera 10 are saying why they are in Kondengi, that till the last man standing, it means that even they who are in prison are saying that till the last man standing. So anyone still thinking that things are it's not as easy as people think. Okay, they say, oh, the leaders were the one, the leaders. Okay, they went to arrest Ayabacho. And did anything change? Now they are going to file this frivolous lawsuit against activists. They have thrown those lawsuits before. They thrown the one that they sent to Comrade Chris Ano 2 times in court. They say, carry this case. This is not the jurisdiction for this case. Any war crime, there is a war crime tribunal. A crime against war is tried at the ICC or ICJ. It's not a local court in your quarter. Now you go and carry somebody that this person committed crime. That's why I don't even want to mention about that case of Eric Tato. They will trash that thing out of court. It's all bogus court cases. There is an ongoing war. There's an ongoing crisis. You carry frivolous lawsuit, and that guy is the one called Salai. He's the guy doing that thing, eating Cameroon's money, Cameroon government's money. Tapang Ivo won that guy in court because it's a frivolous lawsuit. You cannot carry crime of war and go and put in a local court. That's not a jurisdiction for that crime. Okay? The court will tell you, go to the right channel and judge this matter there. We don't have jurisdiction. That's why even Ayabacho is there in Norway. Norway don't know what to do with Ayabacho. Norway does not know what to do with Ayabacho because they cannot try him. except they have the jurisdiction. Okay, they'll call all the leaders now, let them go to Norway, and let's see what will happen. Because you don't have a jurisdiction. Cases are not just like that. You don't just go and carry any charge and be a lawyer. And the thing is that in America, to be a lobbyist or to act as an agent for a country, you must have a license. So what this guy called Salah is doing is illegal. It's illegal in here in America. It's illegal for you to just go and sue somebody, and you're working under the regime of Cameroon without a license. You must have a company registered and working under that auspices of that. You are an agent. But if you are not registered, you might be sued for that. Because you are using your law. A law firm doesn't mean you are an agent. You must be registered to work as an agent, a foreign agent. Okay? And I don't think the Salah guy has all those credentials. You know that even the sister of that very Salah has been jailed for 15 years because of fraud. The COVID, the same thing that they are holding Eric Tato about the COVID thing, COVID-19 thing, it's the same thing that same lawyer called Salah, the sister has been held of fraud. So they have jurisdiction. They can try that one in America when it comes to COVID-19 fraud. But you cannot try the one that they call Eric Tato, they call him what? They say Gary Master. That is the work of the ICC or ICJ to try that matter after the crisis is over. You cannot start trying people when crisis is ongoing. It doesn't work like that. Justice must come for everybody. It's not just for one person. The government of Cameroon is still killing our people there. They will not try them. So they'll leave all these Atanganji boys. Atanganji, all these people who are killing people. All the kidnapping going on is done by this military. So you say that they're going to abandon this military, then they come and be holding our leaders. It will not work like that. They'll arrest everybody who has engineered something. You cannot commit a crime and think that they'll skip people and go and arrest other people without arresting the people who started the war in the first place. Who declared the war in the first place? Yeah? Is it not Biya and his ministers? So abandon them there. They go and be arresting people who are trying to defend self-defense, which is a human right. Some of you guys they just report any kind of thing. You just report things because you want to report. You are a newspaper. Just put there, Eric Tato has been arrested, blah, 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 blah. It's not a jurisdiction. It's not a jurisdiction. Negotiation process have to start. They go there and then you know how much Cameroon government has to compensate the people of Amazonia? So they want to dodge all those things that negotiation brings. That's why Cameroon don't want to go to negotiation. Because there's a lot that they have to pay. Like Germany is still paying reparation till today. You don't know that? For First and Second World War. Cameroon has to pay the people. All the Scotch aid policy that they implemented in our, it cannot go like that. That's what Cameroon think that, okay, if they arrest the leaders, then they'll forget about the thing. 20th May, please remember, it's a day of huge lockdown. Please don't play. Okay? Biya want to use his ministers and all these people to manipulate the international community. They have condemned these people several times. They condemn their killing. They condemn their all the atrocities, the human rights violations. They have condemned everything. What else do you want our people to explain to you that they are defending their homeland? The army of occupation is in our land. Our people are protesting that they cannot sustain this kind of occupation anymore. What else do you want our people to do? To sit and watch while they are killing them, they are exploiting them? They are calling them and go and extort money from them. Is that what you want our people to do? I don't see people that will sit quiet while they do all these things to them. I don't think so. They have to stand up. It's a human right for you to stand up. Self-defense is a right. You understand? No country or government or president will tell you that human right, self-defense is not right. That's why even the United States will never call the people of Southern Cameroon and Amazonia as terrorists. Never. Because they know that they have a just cause. That is why they gave our people TPS. That is why they granted our people asylum. That is why the United States Senate and the United House, they are still asking the Trump administration to give our people extension. Because they said the situation is there. The situation back in Amazonia is still not safe for people to be sent back home. Until negotiation process, until there is a ceasefire, until there is that negotiation and the people decide, okay, the people of Amazonia, like any other recognized entity or recognized country, have the right to determine their self-determination, to determine what they want for themselves. And that will happen. Because if other countries can have referendum, other countries can have determination, other countries can go through negotiation process, Southern Cameroon and Amazonia is the same, have the same rights. Okay? And we shall overcome. We shall overcome. Thank you for watching. God bless you for watching. God bless the people of Southern Cameroon and Amazonia.
Villages torn, caught in the crossfire. Firing arms echo a deadly desire. Innocent lives caught in the midst. Fleeing homes with nowhere to shift. With the sound of war and pain echoing through the lives in vain. But who's listening to the cries of the innocent who lost their lives? We're used to hurt, to destroy and to claim, leaving death and sorrow, lingering shame. Our purpose is to inflict and to wound, but at what cost, and who's counting the dead and profound? We're the sound of war and pain echoing through the lives in vain. But who's listening to the cries of the innocent who lost their lives? But what about peace? What about love? Can't we find a way from above to put an end to this senseless fight and let humanity live in peace and light? We want peace, we want life, an end to violence, an end to strife. Let's come together, hand in hand,